how we do. Welcome back to the podcast. Hopefully we end up having a whole show tonight because we're having some technical issues, and unfortunately you guys are going to be held hostage to that. Let me get this music turned off. Bada bing, bada boom. Welcome back, everybody. We are having some type of weird technical stuff going on, and we'll just see how it goes. We'll try to keep you all in the loop as it goes, and I appreciate the patience as we get this rolling. As before, like when we have issues, I'm always so apologetic because after almost nearly 3 years of doing this should not be an issue. But we've moved the show once. We've upgraded equipment. Last week I had Eric in here, our engineer. He did a ton of upgrades and a ton of things, getting ready for the new year in the new studio, prepping for a lot of stuff. And I think there's some residual issues because of that. Either way, hopefully you guys out there in listening land can hear everything. And you can hear me tell you to share this. Down on the Facebook side of things, there's a little button down there where it says share. Go ahead and share this. Main thing, too, is this is an interactive show. We talk about recovery, and we utilize all different aspects of recovery when it comes to this stuff. I have people come on the show, talk about how their recovery looks, talk about where they find their recovery, talk about just how life shows up, and people network through this. We put phone numbers on here. We ask people to talk about where they go to meetings to, just how they found the life they have today. And I ask them to share it because we network. We do this thing together. It's a we program. I didn't do this on my own. Go ahead and push that door open so it stays open. Like, you'll see. But yes, we're down here at We'll Work for Recovery, 2520 North 2nd Street. You going to hop on for a few minutes, bud? Ed, you going to hop on real quick before everyone gets in here? I want you to sit down, put those headphones on. I'm going to ask you just a real few quick questions. All right, get those headphones on. Tell me, can you hear me in your headphones?
I can hear you.
All right, can you hear yourself?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, that's all that really matters when we, you know what, look at this. You guys want to see something funny? I've got headphones in and look at, wondering why I can't hear nothing. So, Eddie, or who are you, sir?
Eddie, alcoholic.
Talk uncomfortably into that mic.
It's Eddie, alcoholic.
Thank you, Eddie. How long you been in this program doing this stuff?
7 years, 3 months, 1 day.
Nice. So here's my question to you. The first time you walked into We'll Work for Recovery, what was your thoughts about this facility kind of versus others?
It was on the other side of the room, the other side of the building.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and all her friends were the ones that kind of got this place started when Paul and Carolyn started it. Mm-hmm. There was, on any given weekend night, there was 300 to 400 plus years of sobriety in the room.
Oh, yeah.
On the first year or so this was open.
Yeah, there was a lot of the old timers were coming up.
Yeah, and then there was always a parking lot crowd every Friday and Saturday night with our bikes and everything, and there was a ton of sobriety.
Yep.
You know.
So I guess here's the other question I always ask people, especially the first time they've been on, is how would you explain this to someone else? If someone came up to you and was like, hey, I'm looking to get into some recovery. I heard about this We'll Work for Recovery joint. What's it about? Like,
well, I get random phone calls because a lot of people know I'm sober, and of course I have a lot of friends in different places, etc. And some people are embarrassed to tell their other friends that they think they got a problem, but they'll reach out to a friend they know is sober, and you just kind of put them on Front Street. You know,
right.
You know, I don't know if I can swear on here or not, but there's no bullshit in this program.
Right.
I mean, you can look in the mirror and lie to yourself from the start, and you'll get nowhere. It will come back and haunt you. And if you're honest with yourself in the beginning, it's a pretty simple program.
Right.
You know, what the problem is, if you want to become something you've never been, you have to do things you've never done.
Nice. That's a strong, hard-hitting fact. So I've known you for a while. We've rode together. I know that you do a lot of motorcycle riding. And since you've been in recovery, you've started your own business. Like, you become a small business owner. Is that something you would like to talk about? Here's a platform you can tell about how you were able to do that because of your recovery. And
Well-
what it's called, whatever you're comfortable sharing about.
Well, my first job in recovery was towing.
Okay.
I left that. Got another job towing. Hurt my knee right before COVID started, so I literally had 2.5 years off. Living with a brother of mine and started this business. I own Eye Candy Coatings. It's a paint correction and ceramic shop for Harleys and hot rods, cars, etc.
Eye Candy Coating.
It was, I don't know. I don't work well with others. I one of those people. I can build you a house from the ground up. I can dig the hole. I can lay the last shingle. I can lay the last piece of trim. I can do the same thing with a car. Same thing with a bike. I have a lot of friends that can do that too, and I do value their opinion. But at the same point in time, I'm better off working for myself.
So here's the question I want to ask you: is simply how are you able to utilize being a small business owner and being in recovery? Did that benefit you being in recovery? And if so, like how? Explain that.
You would be surprised at how many of my customers are sober that when they find out I'm sober. You know, and there's been a few times with customers where, you know, I don't like to close the door at 6 o'clock on the shop in the summertime and say, hey, you got to be here by X, Y, or Z. But people have a life to live, and I want their bike gone, and I like the money too. But if I got an AA meeting to go to or something, an AA function, I'll say I got to be out of here by 6:30. I got to go to AA. Oh, I got 13 years. You know, and you'd be surprised. Just because you don't see somebody at a meeting doesn't mean they're not in the program, or their wife might be in the program. And again, like I said, being, you know, a part of the sober community, as well as I have a lot of MC customers and friends, and so I get a lot of guys from that walk of life that, you know, they're like just sick and tired of it. Like, you know, how'd you do it? Right. You know, and people sometimes are afraid to ask, but it's not so much like it's not in the closet like it was.
Right, it's not shameful like
probably
you know,
back
in the 70s.
It's almost to the point where, with this younger generation, considering the amount of drugs that are on the street that'll kill you, it's almost become a hip thing.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I see that out there too. It's almost, oh well, how many times you been to treatment or whatever? It is. It's the side I wanted to kind of touch on too is you started alluding to it, is being in recovery and having this business. You mentioned something like it's almost a conversation starter, but also it does help expand your word on your business, correct?
Yeah, correct. Well, when I started with the Highway 10, when I got sober, I outgrew their wage system. And when I went and got the job at Kramer Services.
That's a nice way of saying, I like it. You outgrew their wage system, meaning you needed more money.
I outgrew the wage system. But when I went for the other job, there was 212 applicants, and right in the interview, I said, well, you know, I've been sober 4+ years, blah, blah, blah. It turned out the owner had over 20 years in the program.
Boom.
And I got the job.
Insider.
You know, and I mean, was it because of that? I would have to bet that it had a lot to do with it.
Right.
You know, considering if somebody tells you they got 4 years of sobriety, for the last 4 years, they've put something else above their needs and made sure that, you know, they're living their life right and that they're someone you can trust, you know. And I look at the 12 steps as something that you should just read. If you're bored, you don't have to be an alcoholic, you don't have to be a drug addict, but if you literally read those steps, it might actually help you live your life in a little bit better way.
Right, and that's something that you talk about. You show up. Why were you here tonight?
I didn't want to come, but reality is I wouldn't have a business if I didn't get sober. I mean, I own a business and work for 2 others, and it's not because of anything other than the fact that I am who I am. I'm a man of my word. People know that I do the job right, and I'm sober. You don't got to worry about me not showing up, or, oh man, I left my bike at Eddie's and he's off on a bender, and you know, I haven't seen him in 3 weeks, because I hear horror stories like that all the time, you know, and sometimes you just got to sit back and wonder, you know.
No, and I get it, and I'm glad I got you in here a little early too to bug you about getting you on the show. And next time, I want you in here with your wife, too. I can't wait to see her next time. Like, I got Eddie on the show. I didn't think this would happen, but I suckered you in when you came in to look.
You hooked me, bro.
So what do you tell someone who's out there struggling? What would you tell someone? Not a brother, not just someone on the street walks up to you, someone you don't know, and's like...
I would take anyone to a meeting. If somebody came to me and says, XYZ, I'm really struggling. I don't know if I want to get high. I don't know if I want to get drunk. I'll say, you know what? I'll take you to a meeting. You can go from there. I mean, there's so many meetings out there. Not everybody fits in every meeting.
Right.
And that's why there's so many different meetings, and that's what I tell people. Just because you don't like this meeting or that meeting, you may not like every meeting that happens here every day, but it doesn't mean that you have to come here on that day. And it's one of those things now, like I said a few minutes ago, it's almost to the point where sobriety is becoming hip. And back in the day, you had to make a phone call on a landline just to find a meeting, where you can go on your phone now and in 10 seconds you can see where there's 300 meetings within 50 miles of you in the Twin Cities.
Right, that's the big difference too, is with this social media and just cell phones alone. I don't know what it would have been like for you guys back in the day without cell phones. And I point to Wes, and I know that you're a little older.
Smoke signals, Tim.
Yeah, right, I'm sorry. All right, no accusations of age. But
one over there.
Here's the thing: is like we get to do recovery. Eddie's gonna talk about how things work for him. Wes is gonna talk about what worked for him. I haven't met you yet, so I'll get to know who you are in a second.
Absolutely.
What is your name?
My name's Felix. Hi.
Felix, you out here? All right, wait. Before you leave, I need you to tell the audience, what are you grateful for today? Attitude for gratitude, bro. What are you grateful for?
Just another day above ground. I mean, physically I'm broken and everything else, but guess what? I will go home at night. I got a beautiful wife, a beautiful dog. The roof is over my head. Mm-hmm. The bills are paid. It's the holiday season. And 20 years ago, I was under a bridge. And that's a fact. I mean, when I got sober, I had a backpack. I still have it. Now I got too much shit.
Dude, he's got one of the best dogs I've ever met. Smartest German Shepherd, right? German Shepherd?
Yeah, Cinder, yeah.
Cinder, baddest ass dog ever. Eddie, thank you so much,
right, brother.
I love you, man.
Love you too, Timmy.
Yes.
All right, be cool. I'll see you next week.
Cool. Grab one of these, someone and get him on here. So like I was just alluding to, is like you're going to hear people share about how they're doing this, how they found their recovery and the way they did it. After doing this for 3 years and talking to people nonstop, hearing their stories, is I challenge you, anyone out there under my voice, one thing is give something a try. If it's opposite of whatever life you're living, I'm not here to say you have to do it this 12-step way or this AA or this NA or this. I've heard enough people tell me they found their happiness and their success through so many different walks of recovery. So all I challenge you to do is give something else a try. Eddie was in here, and I knew I wasn't going to get him for long. That's why I hopped him on. So real quick, before we get any further with my two other guests right now, 2520 North 2nd Street. That's where we are having this podcast at. That's where we have it at every Friday. Feel free to come on down here and check it out. Come get on the show. You're going to hear us talk about places like 2218. That's over on 1st Avenue South. We talk about places like Serenity Village. We talk about New Hope, Alleno, Blaine, Alleno, Fridley, Alleno. You're going to hear people talk about a lot of places that they find their recovery. Give it a try. If you have questions, go to the comments, write down any questions or concerns you have, anything I might skip over, anything you have that you want to hear from our guests, just post those questions. Again, 2520 North 2nd Street. Come on down and check out the show. And every day of the week, we've got stuff going on. Every day of the week, we've got meetings. We've got, I know there's a Bible study on Sundays. There's a men's and a women's meeting on Wednesdays. Every morning there's a structured AA meeting here. We have tons and tons. Thank you, bro. We've got tons and tons of stuff going on here at Will Work for Recovery. Just come check it out, man. Come check it out. Otherwise, check out one of these other places. As I say, I always fall back to the same thing. Is like give something else a shot if you're out there struggling. And the last thing is, if you are out there struggling, if you're not sure what to do next, just know that you're worthy. You deserve to find some happiness. I got a scroller going across the bottom of the screen. Utilize those phone numbers I put up there. If you're having some like self-harm thoughts, dial 988. Please reach out to anyone who's on here. You can use this message board as a network system. Fight for yourself. Fight for your recovery. You're worthy. If someone hasn't told you today, let me be the first. As I love you, you are loved. All right, let's get to the show, boys and girls. Who are you, sir?
I'm Wes.
Welcome back, Wes. Get as close as you uncomfortably can to that mic. And again, who are you?
My name's Felix. Hi.
Felix, welcome to the show. I've had
Thank you.
Wes on once. I've never had you on. And Tim's about to come sit down as well. How do you know about Will Work for Recovery, Felix?
Man, I came to the city about October 9th, right? And I'm like looking for meetings. I went to inpatient and I came to outpatient and I asked around. I'm like, hey, where are the good meetings? And they're like, Will Works, man. You know, like they got a meeting every night, 7 p.m. and my favorites personally are the Thankful Thursdays,
Thankful Thursdays.
Monday
Nice.
Night Spirituality, and Raffle Night.
Oh, night. That's tonight, right? Raffle night.
Yes, it was,
Did
and it
you,
was
did
wonderful.
you name these, or is that what they called? I don't know.
You know what? That's what I call them,
Nice.
and that's a good basis for what they are. So.
No, you know what? We're gonna start implementing those names. I love it. I've never heard it called like raffle night because we do give out a ticket.
Yeah.
They call your number. You can share. I love it. I love it. So, when you were told about this place, what did they gear you up? Was it anything like you expected when you walked in? And tell me about that experience when you first showed up.
Well, honestly, this is way cooler than I expected. Like, I walked into this meeting. I've been to a lot of meetings over the years. For me, my use started when I was 9 years old.
Okay.
I had 12 years of use and 12 years of clean time, and not consecutively, mind you. But yeah, I walked in the doors here, and I was like, man, this place is welcome. These people are really cool. The things on the walls, there's so much to look at. Like, if you're feeling stressed or overstimulated, you got something cool to look at that'll take your mind off of the things. But, like, people talk to each other. They care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, the thing about it is, like, you come to Willworks, and you know you're welcome.
That's awesome too. It's like I always like to get people's perspective of when they come in. I think it's important for people who've never been here just to hear so many different views of this place. I had one guy say, if you could take my brain and flip it inside out, it would be the walls that will work for recovery. Like, I've heard some people say it's the trap house without the trapping.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and you know what? Some people, you got to understand, like, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night, it's large, very large meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday and Thursdays are much smaller. So if there's, just take that into consideration. If you're worried about a lot of people, come check out a Tuesday or Thursday meeting first. Like, it's awesome. Come check it out. What do you tell someone out there who's struggling?
Well, there's always hope. Like, I suggest for myself, this is what I'm doing this time around in my recovery. I've found a sponsor. I've found accountability partners. I've gone to inpatient. I'm attending outpatient. I'm in a sober house, you know, like, and I got off the streets. I was homeless for 7 months this year.
Okay.
And it was terrible. And, yeah, for those still struggling, there is hope. There's a place for you. You know, maybe it's not necessarily Willworks. Maybe it's like AGC with CMA. Maybe it's, you know, like going to, I believe there's one at Blaisdell, Zen Meditation Center. You know, man, there's so many great meetings out here. And, like, it's just about finding those people that you connect with that are there for you. You know, like, you will always find family in the recovery community if you look for it and you say, hey, man, I'm struggling and I need this help.
So here's the question I want for all three of you. Wes, I need you to weigh in on this, and Tim, I need you to weigh on this, and all you guys close to your mics as you can is, what does recovery mean to you? Go ahead. Argue it up.
Healing.
Life. Survival.
We're doing one-word answers, guys and girls? Girls and children and adults. Healing. Come on, Wes. What is it? What does recovery mean to you?
Everything.
No. Break it down. What does that mean?
I'll just tell you this much, okay?
Right on that mic.
I just had a sobriety birthday.
And what was that?
45 years.
Holy
Congrats.
shit. Whoa. Hey, 45 years you just celebrated.
Woo!
45. To me, that is the proof of the program. But go ahead. Come on.
You know, I came here tonight because I was supposed to meet a sponsee and give him a little book. And the little red book from a replica from 1946 on the 12 steps.
The little red book.
It was from a replica of the 1946 edition. And end up giving it to somebody else. But I got 5 more copies at home to pass around.
A lot of people don't know what the little red book is. I didn't until maybe 2 years in. An elder statesman gave me one.
Well, the Little Red Book was based on the 12-step classes that were started in the 40s and 2218. And matter of fact, that was the only formal treatment I ever received for my alcoholism.
Was it Little Red Book?
No, it was the 12-step
Oh, okay.
classes.
Yep.
And I feel very fortunate that I found the fellowship young. You know, a lot of you guys know that I came in at such a young age. I was 20 years old when I sobered up.
Well, you got people 9 years old. They started like.
Well, I was 9 years old too. You know, I was like the little Jack in the Box. Boing!
If you want to grab, don't forget, you guys. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting Wes's story. American Pie Pizza. They're like a partners of ours. They're down in Bloomington. They bring in some of the best pizza I've ever had. We got 5 pizzas back there. Go ahead and go grab some. You can come right back on. Hey, you want to grab Wes a couple
Yeah,
slices?
give me a
Yeah,
few
well.
slices. I'm
All right.
hungry.
So yeah, you were come
I
on.
said I was like the little Jack in the Box because as soon as I took that first or that second, it wasn't the first drink that got me, it was the second one. That's when the boing,
Yeah.
and I chased it, and I didn't drink again until I was 11, but by the time I was 14, I was hooked. I was drinking to the excess of blacking out,
Yeah.
and I crossed that line, and it was a quick walk down to hell, to the bottom of the hell.
Right.
And by the time I was 18, I was at the bottom. And I know when I look back at it, I wouldn't have lasted much longer. I'm pretty sure I probably would have took myself out. But I never expected this. You know, when I came back in out of the hospital in 1979, I got released from the hospital. I sat in a meeting and I really didn't know if I was going to be making it, man. I felt so defeated. You know, I didn't know if I was going to be there 30 days, 90 days. But I really took it down to one day at a time.
You want to elaborate on that? What we all hear that one day at a time, and everyone's got their own story with that statement, which I do too. It didn't click right away. What do you mean by that? You've got 45 years, but you took it down to one day at a time. What do you mean?
Live your life one day at a time. You know, nobody comes in here happy. At least I didn't.
Yeah, no winning streak.
I was one miserable young man. I never thought the darkness was ever going to leave me. You know, I mean, pain and despair was my constant companion.
Okay.
But I believed that what people were telling me. And I was very fortunate. I found others that really gave a damn about me. And they kept telling me, it will get better, Wes. It will get better. You know, and they told me also, I didn't get this way overnight. I mean, come on, man. We've been knocking the hell out of ourselves with drugs and booze for years before we get here. And it's not going to change overnight for us.
Right.
You know, I can remember my very first year in sobriety, my emotions were just stretched and broken apart, man. I was like a little rubber ball bouncing up and down, you know, emotionally, feeling good and feeling sad, feeling good, feeling sad. But it did even out. It really did. And it got better. It takes time. You got to give yourself time.
Here's something someone told me. It was about 3 years in. I was really struggling with some thoughts that were popping in my head. And, you know, it was tearing me up. I'm doing this program. I've got a sponsor. I'm working steps. At that point, I already been through the steps, and I'm working with sponsees now. But my brain still thought that some solution was in a needle or in a pill. And I went to one of my sponsors at the time, someone that I confide into, and let him know, like, hey, what the fuck? Pardon my language. It was like, what the fuck? It was really tearing me apart. And he said, Tim, how long you been sober? How long you been clean? And I told him, 3 years, 2 months, 8 days, da-da-da. How long did you use for? Well, about 18, 19 years. He said, did you think in 3 years you were going to get over what you built up in 18 plus years? At that point, it clicked. Like, give yourself a break sometimes. It doesn't happen overnight.
Well, you know, the obsession, it does leave you, but a part of it sticks around. You know, it's like it's branded on your mind, man. It's like they brand cattle to mark them. Well, I think that's kind of like with this disease. It stays in your mind, the obsession to take that drink. It gets less. But you got to remember, and this is only my thinking, I could be completely wrong. But Bill Wilson, the co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, said that it's lack of power was our dilemma. We had to find a power which was greater than ourselves that would solve our problem. And so when you're thinking about that word power, and even Ojibwe, you know, we call it Mashkausian power, and to say no to the thought of taking that first drink. And so when we say no to the thought of the first drink, we have been restored to sanity. It's just that simple.
Right.
And you go to realize that for you to drink is insane. That's in spite of what happens to you, every time you do it, it's insane. But you see, the insanity is the thought of going back. And that's where you need something greater than yourself that can do for you what you couldn't do.
What did that look like? You know what? Hang on. I imagine you can understand what he's talking about, finding something greater than yourself, correct, Tim?
Yeah, you know, I tried to do it. I'm a stubborn guy.
Okay.
And I kept trying to do things on my own, and I kept failing and failing and failing. I tried AA a couple of times, and it just was not the right meeting, I guess. But being stubborn, I kept trying it again and again until I found the right meeting.
Okay.
And it was at 2218, 7 o'clock men's meeting on Friday nights.
Okay.
And I looked around, and everybody was really welcoming, but everybody was skeptical of all the people that come in the door too, because most people fail at their first try. But I decided I wanted what these people had, and I didn't back off. I kept going back again and again and again. Worked really hard with 2218, and enjoyed being there, enjoyed helping out, and I'm still doing it. Just came from a meeting tonight where we covered the 12th step.
That's 2218 First Avenue South over there in South Minneapolis, right off of Nicollet and Franklin, back there about 2 blocks.
2218 Alano of Minneapolis. You can find it online.
World's longest continually running Alano in the world.
You can find it online. But I saw what these people had, and I wanted that. And I would not let that go. I kept going back until I could fit in a little better and start finding some of the promises that they talk about. Now, I don't read the promises on the wall. I don't aspire to them. I keep trying to give, and I make that my focus. Not achieving the promises, but to keep giving. And those promises do come about. And I'll look around and notice that, this promise came about, and I didn't even see it because I wasn't looking for it.
Right, I see what you're
I'm
saying.
just looking for the opportunities to give, to keep trying, to keep finding ways to help out. Just the program changed my life to find another lifestyle other than work hard, play hard, and the me philosophy that is just the philosophy of, I guess, the Western culture, and certainly in the Midwest, is to compete and achieve. And I quit competing, and I'm achieving more.
So, Wes brought up a power greater than himself. Felix, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. For me, my higher power is Buddhism.
Share about it.
So I actually, before I relapsed this year, I was going to Buddhist meditation in Mankato, and it's based on the principles of being well, happy, skillful, and peaceful, and, wishing that upon others, and loving kindness, metta. And I found a lot of peace in meditation and extending that love for others beyond just myself, because I feel like as an addict, it's hard to look past. I know for me, it's hard for me to look past myself sometimes and just really have that compassion for myself and others. And when I surrendered to that will of like wanting good for the world beyond myself, like that brings me a lot of strength, and that helps me to help others and give back. That's like I believe a lot in service work as well.
Right.
Like, being involved in the community. And I believe that if you're not in a place where you're, good with yourself and your higher power, that it makes it a lot harder to help others.
And what I heard you share was almost similar to what Tim was saying. Is like, helping others.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot, helping others. So this is a part where, not being rude, but I'm going to be strewing all three of you off the mics because I'm going to put 3 other people on.
Yep.
I'd ask that you guys hang out because I'm going to do the same to them, and there's not a ton of people in here. So what I want you to do is go around and talk to me about your gratitude. Tim, you start. What are you grateful for today? I only got one question to you, too. So stick around. I want you back.
Yeah, well, my gratitude is the fact that I have a purpose in life again. When I was chasing after fulfilling my own needs and wishes and desires, I guess needs doesn't even fall in there, just my own wishes and desires, I would achieve them and I'd still feel empty, or I would fall short and feel even more empty. But by extending myself, offering myself to help others, I never feel empty. Whether I'm successful in helping someone or not, I know that I was there for them and offered myself, and they will take advantage of it now, or they'll take advantage of it at another time. Or maybe I'll just plant the seed that'll help them further down the line. And that gives me reward right there. I no longer feel empty. There's always some place to help, some way to go about offering myself. And maybe it's just a smile I give someone in passing on the street, holding a door for someone, something simple. I don't think that I'm cut out for some great event in life, but some little simple thing might turn somebody's life around to where they can accomplish that big, wonderful thing that we're here to produce.
And then in return, it helps you. So, Tim, I need you to go grab her in the brown sweater. She's taking your seat. Wes, tell me about some gratitude.
Well, I'm grateful that I'm sober today, of course, but I'm even more grateful that I'm an ambassador to God.
You say that you're an ambassador to what?
To God.
Yeah, I
For
didn't have you
for
elaborate. Sorry.
For the alcoholic. That there's a way out, and you can have a wonderful life being sober. I am a living example.
Yeah.
I am a miracle, and I know it.
Yeah, and I thank you
I know
for
it, and I know it, and I'll stand on my feet and argue that point to the day. Come on, let's go toe to toe. You'll see.
Honestly, Wes, when people tell me they have time like you do, even when they say they got 30 days, I thank them. I don't say congratulations. I don't know why. I've just gotten accustomed to thanking them because I'm grateful for your clean time.
So you got to believe in something. If there's one thing you better believe in is your sobriety, because it's the foundation of life for me. Because if I ain't got sobriety, I ain't got nothing. Because everything that in my life that I have today that is positive and good and pure has came as a direct result of me coming into this fellowship. I heard someone say it this way, and I'm going to say it, then I'm going to shut up. When I went to church, I learned of God. And when I went to my native spirituality, I learned of the Creator. But it was through this 12-step fellowship called Alcoholics Anonymous, I experienced God. And that is the honest to God truth. This is the closest thing I have ever found to heaven.
I love you, Wes. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, you're welcome.
If you're around after I cycle through, I'd love to have you back on.
Okay.
All right, Gracie, batter's up. Gracie. You're up next, Gracie. All right, now, the name of this show is called Attitude for Gratitude. And when every time someone's done, we bring up their gratitude. So this is the part where I talk to you and say, hey, thank you for coming on the show. Will you come on again?
Absolutely.
Would you come on?
Yes.
All right, well, tell me about your gratitude then.
Oh, man. Like, I got to be honest. I told this in the meeting earlier, but I was really struggling today. Like, I did not want to be clean. I was doing all these types of behaviors that always lead me back to using. And then I talked to my sponsor, and I'm grateful for him. And then I talked to my friends, and I was grateful. And then I came to the meeting and told on myself because I'm like, man, I'm still not at the point where I need to be with my sobriety today for my recovery. And then, coming on here tonight is about also, like, talking about the feeling of, like, surrendering, too. Because, like, for me, in my recovery, like, to stay clean, to stay grateful, recovering addict, like, I need to surrender. I need to give that power to something greater than myself, and that's what keeps me clean. That's what I'm grateful for, to be clean another day, to have this moment, and to tell others that it's possible, and it happens, it's true, and you can get there.
Listen, I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate your clean time. You coming in here sharing what you're sharing is the type of stuff that could help save someone else's life.
I agree.
I understand the way you do recovery might kill me, but hearing some experience through what you're going through and what you do go through could also save my life.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you coming on, and you already said you'd come back.
Yes,
so
I
I'm gonna
will.
hold you to that. Every Friday night, you're welcome to come back on the show.
I will
Now,
be
this
back.
quiet-ass kid sitting in that chair with his back to you, grab him and pull him up here. He's next. His name is Jack.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, by the way. This has been a pleasure.
You're the shit. Thank you. I appreciate you. Who are you? What's your name?
I'm Morgan. I'm a grateful recovering addict.
Morgan, stay close on that mic when you talk to me. Young lady who is acting like she ain't never been here before. Scooch up, because I can't have you move grabbing the mics. Okay. Scooch right up on that mic. Put damn near get lips on it, and tell me, who are you? Oh, you sickos. Who are you? Come on.
I'm Miss Gracie.
You're Miss Chuckles tonight. Listen to you laughing away.
Stop playing.
I love you, Miss Gracie. So this is the mother of recovery. Mother of recovery. Miss Gracie. Young man, get close to the mic, because I already know you're going to be quiet. So hang on a second. Yeah. Does that make it a little easier, Jackson?
Yeah.
You play too much, don't it?
All right, what is your name?
My name is Jack.
Jack. Have I ever had you on the show?
You have.
I have.
Not at this location.
No.
But
So we're popping, we're breaking,
Whoa.
we're breaking boundaries
we
here.
are.
Oh,
Yeah, damn, Tim. How long you been doing this recovery thing? Mama!
4 years now.
4 years. What do you do when you're struggling nowadays?
I mean, the main thing is reach out to other people. Use my recovery community.
What do you mean?
Tell them my first thoughts of the situation and bounce ideas off of them. It depends on what it is, I guess, but...
So let's just use an example real quick, because I'm going to beat you up on this, but not really. Just I'm grateful you're on here. Like, I'm telling you, you guys don't understand. 3.5 years ago, this kid would have... I'd have needed a crowbar first to get him out of his house, and another crowbar to get him out of that chair to even get up here, and now to share. You're like this an onion that keeps peeling other layers and getting stinkier, but in a good way. You know what I mean? Like,
That
more
was the
potent.
nicest thing anyone's
it
ever
was
said
off
to
the top of my
me.
head.
I'm done.
Jack's a beast when it comes to recovery. He is like what I'd call the example. I look up to Jack, and this is where a perfect thing of someone saying, like, time doesn't equal recovery. I've been in these rooms longer than you, but I look up to you in your recovery. So, Jack, what did you say about someone who's out there struggling?
What would I say to them?
Yeah, like they come to you, I'm struggling, man. What do I do?
Once again, it depends, but I mean, the main thing I would tell them is just to give themselves a
I'm
chance.
telling Paris.
Give themselves enough time to really get into recovery, because the drugs are always going to be there, but just give themselves a shot. I know for myself that if I used in any form, there was no way that I was going to make a better life for myself. It was just going to get worse. So I don't know. I would just say don't give up on themselves before, I don't want to say the miracle happens, but before they really have a chance to see what recovery is about.
There's no wrong answer. It's your opinion. Morgan, how long you been doing recovery?
I was a chronic relapser for a little while, but this time around I've been clean since October 1st of 21.
Of 21.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask questions that you guys might think are silly, but there are people who have never been in recovery that listen to the show. So just bear with some of these questions. Like, what does that mean, a chronic relapser?
A chronic relapser was like, for me at least, I couldn't stay sober for more than 30 days. Like I was super good at coming in, collecting that orange key tag, and then dipping because, well, I got 30 days. It's only 30 days, you know. I can get that again. It's easy as anything else. So just going out and then coming back and going out and coming back and going out and coming back, you know, for me was a chronic relapser.
So,
Mess up my ditch.
what's that? There's no secrets on the podcast because everyone can hear because we're in front of microphones. And my phone is picking up everything I say. It's silly, Tim. All right, there we go. Boom. Because this young lady named Paris is going to come in halfway through me asking you guys questions. She's going to pick it up and keep asking you guys questions. So you say you were a chronic relapser. How did you stop being a chronic relapser? What changed?
I think my mindset really. Also, I got pregnant. And I found myself to be the type of addict who can't use when they're pregnant. Like, the thought just kind of disappeared. But thankfully, I was already working on my sobriety before I found out that I was pregnant, you know, because I was starting to lay that foundation. I was starting to figure out what I needed to do and how I needed to approach this time around in recovery and what I wanted to achieve this time. Because ultimately for me, I knew that it wasn't just about today or tomorrow. It was about my future, and that's what I needed to work on when I was getting clean.
So, if you ran into yourself, this is a question someone asked, and I keep forgetting to ask people that. Nick, don't go far. So, if you ran into yourself in January of 21, what would you tell yourself? You know, when you were relapsing, before you came in the last time, what would be the thing you would tell yourself?
Leave that guy. First and foremost, leave that guy. The shit you're doing isn't working. And you got people in here who love you and miss you, and you need to come back home.
Yes.
Gracie? Miss Gracie.
Yes.
So, you're not close to the mic like I yelled at you 10 times about. So, you've been doing this for a while. What's it like? And now, Gracie's part of a new meeting that we had started. It's called Scars and Tattoo NA. And that's 10 o'clock every Saturday morning at Ikatomi Tattoos. It's kind of over in Uptown area, Lake Calhoun area. And it's every Saturday at 10 a.m. We do an NA meeting, Narcotics Anonymous meeting, but also you have the ability to sit and do art and draw. It's at a tattoo shop. And something happened last week at this place that I still haven't seen the results of. Do we not? Is this a secret? If
No,
it is,
it's not a secret.
tell us all about your first. Listen, I want to tell this audience something. We'll Work for Recovery does so much stuff, so many fellowship opportunities and so many activities. A couple years back, they're like, Tim, you want to come go-karting? I'm like, go-karting? Get the fuck out of here. Go-karting. Okay, I guess. Once they told me, like, these things go like 40, 50 miles an hour. So I go, and Gracie's there, and everyone's making a big deal about getting her in the go-kart. I'm like, whatever. So we go, and then Gracie hops out there, and I had already went, and then I'm watching. She's going like 2 miles an hour. She's getting lapped. No, but listen, like, she's getting lapped by everybody. I'm talking, she made it around the whole track once to other people's 40 laps. Come to find out, this is the first time in your whole life you drove, correct?
Yeah.
So, like, we do a lot of first things in recovery, and on those same lines, like, what's some other first things you've done in recovery? And let's just bring it back to Saturday.
He just ain't gonna let it go. I went and got a tattoo Saturday.
Oh yeah, and it was in tributes to someone, wasn't it?
No, I just got my name put on me. Me personally, me, only me.
Yeah, that is tribute to somebody.
Tribute to Gracie.
That's right, and I still haven't seen it.
Ooh, it's fire.
So Gracie, I need you to tell the audience what they should be doing if they're thinking about using right now.
Lord, please don't do it. we done lost so many people, and it's so sad. And if you're thinking about going out there using, you need to
talk about that topic.
come here or wherever you need to be, call someone, talk to someone, you know, show them that you really care and be there for them. You know, everybody needs some help every now and then, and this is what the part we look at, help. So this is what we are doing for recovery.
They're talking about what's the topic, Gracie? What were you sharing about? So she knows. But the other, you two are all going to talk about this. Come on.
Hello.
Interaction, boys and girls.
Jack, your turn.
Don't make me nervous, you guys.
Yeah.
My dad says he loves you, Miss Gracie.
I love him too. I love you play.
There's my girl.
You're gonna finally come get on the
I mean,
show?
I'm just gonna piggyback off what Miss Gracie said. Find someone who has had a similar situation, and find people who don't want anything from you besides you to do well, and try to relate that way.
Yeah.
A little more enthusiasm, boys.
Yeah, come on. Say it with your
Come on.
chest.
I just said it. I'm not saying it again.
All right, what about you, Morgan?
I don't know. Them drugs don't love you. The dealers don't love you. The streets don't love you. And you're not doing anything for yourself if you pick up right now. And I know that it might be the only thing that's going through your brain right now, but I'm telling you, there's other answers that you can find if you look hard enough. There's people who love you if you look hard enough. There's worth all around you if you look hard enough.
Right. All right. Well, what are some of the toughest obstacles that you guys have been dealing with in your sobriety? Something that is still kind of a struggle, even if you have some time under your belt, like, you know, things that you got to work in within yourself or within sobriety. Like, what is it?
Okay. For me, I have to keep doing what I've been doing to get where I'm at today. I have to keep interacting, keep going to my meetings, doing step work. Just have to do the same thing. You can't change anything, because when you start changing stuff, that's when you start slacking. You know, get comfortable, too comfortable or cocky, then you forget where you came from. And I have to remind myself every day I'm an addict, and I'm going to be an addict to the day I die. So that's why I keep on doing this thing the way I do it, because I can't see it no other way.
All right. How about you, Jack?
For me, it would definitely be negative thinking or negative self-talk. For at least 20 years of me using, I did things that weren't esteemable. I did things that I wasn't proud of, and I picked up this image of myself as being a bad person. So I have to, you know, basically learn how to think in a different light and be more positive about things, because if I have a negative attitude going into a situation, it will usually turn out that way. And if I can just give myself a chance and not be so hard on myself, it usually turns out a lot better. And someone pointed it out to me, you know, I would never talk to one of my friends the way I talk to myself. And I try to remember that when I start getting down on myself.
Right. Oh, I like that answer, Jack. It was a great answer. How about you, Morgan?
Probably self-worth and trauma. Everything that I went through and put myself through, most importantly, in recovery, or not in recovery, but in my use, doesn't just go away when you get sober. And I think that's something that I thought when I first came in here, was that I get sober and all my problems disappear.
Right.
But in reality, I got sober and I was able to cope and learn how to deal with those problems and learn how to not repeat those problems and to take care of myself better in the future. And teach myself, you know, that I am worth it, and I don't have to do these shitty things to myself or to other people to make myself feel better.
Okay. All right. Well, I like that answer. What is the scariest thing about being sober? Like, what was, like, you know, something that you, like, you know, still kind of is just, like, even if you're strong in your recovery, what is something that, like, kind of scares you, like, with sobriety? Something that you're still, like, having a hard time, like, wrapping yourself around?
Vulnerability.
Vulnerability. Okay. How about you, Jack?
I would say my fear of going through grief without something to numb me.
Yeah.
You know, the unexpected things. I mean, day-to-day life is, I wouldn't say easy, but it's comfortable now.
Right.
And you know, my parents are getting older, and that's definitely one of my fears is what do I do when my safety net is not there anymore?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's actually understandable on how it could be scary. How about you, Miss Gracie? What is the scariest thing about being sober, or something that you're having a hard time like wrapping like your head around?
The scariest thing of being sober.
I know you got a pretty good positive attitude, but I want to know.
Oh, it's some scary shit. Oh, Lord, forgive me. I don't mean to curse. It's some scary stuff. No, it ain't all perfect. You know, I have days where, you know, if I get in my head, I start thinking of some, you know, stuff that I know that would get me in trouble, or thinking about trying to get even with somebody or doing something crazy. So I have to get out of my head and get back in where I need to be. And that's where I need to be focused on my recovery, focus on positive things, not no negative things. Because if you focus on all that negative stuff and all the time people around you, because everybody in recovery ain't in recovery, so you have to let that go. So you just can't, you
Right.
know, you can't worry about their recovery. You got to worry about yourself.
All
And
right.
that's where I'm at.
All right. My dad also said to his answer, said the scariest thing about being sober is knowing that you're only one bad decision away from a relapse, and stay vigilant is the key for him.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But all right. How do you cope with shame and guilt? Like, you know, it takes time for some people. Maybe it takes years. Maybe it takes months. Like, what was something that like helped you cope with your shame and guilt in your sobriety, or if you're still like struggling to cope with shame and guilt?
You know what got me where to get past that shame and guilt? Because for one thing, you know, my mom always told me you never can change what's happened in the past, and it's never gonna change. What you do is work on what's in front of you now, and look what's coming towards you, the future or whatever you have going on. Because if you know the shame and guilt, you know, I had a little shame and stuff. Me being out there using for so long, you know,
Yeah.
that was a disappointment to me and my kids and my family. You know,
Right.
so I had to learn how to love again and wait for them to trust me. It's one for me to like, okay, I'm sober, y'all, I'm good, come on in. It don't work like that.
Yeah.
You got to let them come to you and, you know, feel where they comfortable at. And that's why I keep telling people, because you get clean, everything is not going to come back on no platter.
Right.
So don't expect that.
Well, yeah, it takes time to get all those things back.
Yes.
Especially from any source, if you're a mother, a son, or a father or daughter.
Yes.
Yeah.
I get that completely. How about you, Jack? How do you cope with shame and guilt? Guilt. Let's just make a whole new word.
Jilt. How do you deal with jilt?
Yeah.
With guilt, huh?
Y'all play too much.
It was for me, it took a lot of time to get over that, and I still feel guilty about things that I did when I was using, for sure. But I had never had a substantial amount of sober time before this last time getting sober, but
So proud of you, by the way.
appreciate that. But after living sober for a while, I just realized that the things I did when I was using wasn't me, and I wasn't living by the morals that I actually had. And yeah, I mean, like Miss Gracie said, you're not going to be able to take back the things that
Yeah.
you did, but you can work on trying to make them right, or at least having a living amends of not repeating the same things that you have already done, I guess.
Right. No, that makes
Yes.
sense. Okay. Well, how do you cope with your shame and
With your jilt?
Yeah. Guilt.
The jilt. I think for me, it mostly comes from like trying to be a better person now, and knowing that the past is a past, and you know, something that's written in the AA promises you won't wish to change the past or shut the door on it.
Yeah.
And I try to keep that true, at least in in most of my day-to-day living, but it's definitely hard, you know. It's not easy to just be like, oh, I am carrying all these things that I did in the past and I know that they were hurtful, but trying to be a better person every day is the only thing that I can really do, and try to not repeat those behaviors or those actions.
Right.
Trying to be a better person and do the next right thing is something that you hear a lot in here. And
Right.
I feel like in my clean time I've picked up that like the things that I keep hearing repeated are usually the things that I need to practice on a day-to-day basis, you know, like
Yep.
the keep coming back. It works if you work it. Like just do the next right thing. Things like the regular sayings that come all day long are the things that I'm trying to make sure I keep in my forefront of my mind. Because it's hard when you start to think about the past and when you start to think about like actions that you've done wrong, but like ultimately the past is the past, and if I just carry that with me every single day, I'm not going to be able to grow. I'm not going to be able to be a better person because I'm just going to think about, oh, I'm a bad person, I don't deserve these things, or I did these things wrong, so I shouldn't be able to do the next right thing because I'm a terrible person, you know? And it's just not a positive place for me to be. I just try to stay in a different mindset, I guess.
It's good. I'm happy to hear that. You know, it takes time to get over those thoughts, and even then, it's like as many years, months, or weeks we have, it's still something that we struggle with for sure.
Oh yeah.
What are some hobbies that you gave up because of your addiction? Something that you enjoyed, but it just put you back in a place of when you were using.
What a hobby I gave up?
Yeah, like
Hanging out with old friends. That's I had to get rid of them. And once I got rid of them, I was at peace.
yeah. For me, it was like kind of like just being out all the time, like not
Yeah.
having a place to really go and just figuring out a place to go. And so I had to stop that. I was like, all right, I at least like think about what I'm gonna do before I leave my house.
You're right.
Yeah, because like we had a gas leak
Got
in
a
my house.
routine now.
Yeah, exactly. Because what was it? We had a gas leak like a few months back. I told you about this, and like whole day was just like blown. I was like, dude, what do I do?
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to sit in my house, but like I'm gonna like die. I was like, so, I was like, I was like, you know, I was like, I gotta leave, and so I just tried to make plans and figured it out. Ran some errands that I needed to get done. So, how about you, Jack? What are some hobbies you gave up because of your addiction?
Because of my addiction, or once I got into recovery?
Because like it says literally right here, because of your addiction. Maybe gambling too. I was like, that's a good one for a lot of people, okay?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, everything I did revolved around drugs or alcohol. So, I mean,
You try to do a whole 360 basically, right?
yeah, I mean, I had to learn how to do normal things again. I mean, I was homeless, living on the streets, strictly hanging out with drug addicts, and
Right.
yeah, I mean, I just basically had to relearn how to sit with myself. And like you said, don't just go out to go out. I mean, that always led me into trouble and
Yeah.
hanging out with the wrong people that were,
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I had to find all new places to be. And that was mostly meetings at the start. I mean, I just hung out at meetings until I met people and started to do things with them outside of meetings.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like sometimes when it's hard to like when you first get into like recovery and stuff, it's hard to find those hobbies again. So it's nice when you get to come in here and have a support system that can show you like, hey, like we can go do something and it has nothing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, like going bowling without drinking. Like,
Yeah,
that
right,
was so
like-
foreign to me. Like, what do you mean you go bowling? And like,
Not drink.
and it's
yeah.
uncomfortable as hell for a long time for me.
Right.
But I mean, once you do it enough, it becomes a new habit.
Yeah, exactly. Just retraining your brain into something different. How about you? What are some hobbies you gave up because of your addiction? Yeah.
I feel like in my addiction, I had no hobbies, but I
Really?
feel like I struggled with it for a long time. Even when I was younger, like I never really had hobbies. I kind of just jumped from thing to thing, other than like the only consistency that I really had of like things that I like to do my whole entire life is read. Like
Okay.
I played a little bit of softball here and there. I tried volleyball, you know,
Yeah.
like I
Try
tried
to be a sport
everything.
person.
Yeah, I tried. I tried so hard to be a sport person, but I just couldn't. I didn't care. I'm not fast. I just didn't
Yeah.
work. And then in my addiction, it was like I didn't want to do anything ever. I was always on the go. I was always figuring out the next move or figuring out how to get the next bag, and it just
Right.
never like I had to figure out how to, like you said, I had to sit by myself
Right.
for a while
Okay.
and learn how to be okay with myself, because I couldn't sit in a room by myself without freaking the flip out for a long
You're
time.
fine. I'm glad you're still mindful, but like it's a podcast. We're good.
Okay.
Sometimes, but I'm thankful for that you're mindful for. Okay, what is one thing you've done always wanted to do but never done, and why? Yeah, we're doing great.
One
It's
thing
good
I
female
wanted
energy
to
over
do-
here.
One thing I wanted to do is just to wake up in the morning and don't feel crappy
sit
and
with me?
ugly. And don't have to figure out where I'm going to get my next high from.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my biggest thing. I feel so great when I wake up in the morning and I'm just free.
Right.
Yeah.
Not waking up with a hangover.
No.
Oh my
Nothing.
God,
Right.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. What about you, Jack? What is one thing you've always wanted to do but never done, and why?
I don't know. Come back to me.
All right, Morgan.
Freaking snowboard, man.
Dude,
I've
I've
been
wanted
for-
to do that,
Dude.
Let's go. Let's
That's
go get
right.
some lessons.
Straight up. The year that I was getting sober, this time around, I like had this whole plan that I was gonna take the winter and like designate the winter to learning
Yeah.
how to snowboard. And then like the day that I was going to buy like snowboarding pants,
Yeah.
I found out I was pregnant.
Oh wow.
I was like, that just effed my life.
well, I mean,
It ultimately was a great thing. I love my child. My child is the light and
but you
soul
couldn't
of my
go
entire life.
snowboarding,
But I
right.
couldn't go snowboarding. I couldn't go tubing. I couldn't
Right.
do anything over the winter because, when you're pregnant, you have to be so incredibly cautious. And it was like I felt like I had nothing that I could do or whatever. Hi, my lovey.
Yeah, this is
a
a
good And-
babies.
recovery.
Yeah.
And
My dad said we could go to Oregon. They have the best boarding there.
dude, I need to go. I need to learn
Mm-hmm.
so bad. And now this year I'm not pregnant. I'm not gonna be pregnant, and I'm gonna learn how to snowboard.
No, you're good.
All right, cool. I just want to ask. Also, Miss Gracie, I just want to ask
Gracie
you.
and Jack are probably ready to cycle out when they are.
Yeah.
Throw the man on here.
Okay, yeah. Well, Jack still has to. You're not done. You have the question still. Because you're here. That's why. Okay, but Miss Gracie, I also just wanted to ask you, just as like a side question, and then I'll let you go. Is how was your TI concert, by the way?
The
The
what?
concert you went to last night.
Oh my God, Lord, I poured it.
Awesome. All right, what are you grateful for, Miss Gracie? And let
I'm
you
so
go.
grateful for having all you guys for this 5.5 years. I have an amazing recovery family, and I love all of y'all.
We love you too, Miss Gracie, and thank you for being my sponsor.
All right.
All right, Jack. What about you? What is one thing you've always wanted to do but never done, and why?
No.
I don't know. That's a hard question because I started using when I was 14 years old,
Right.
and that just I didn't think of things outside of using that
Thank
I
you.
wanted to do. But I mean, in recovery, I have done some of those things.
Okay.
One bucket list thing was to go skydiving. I got to go skydiving in recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, you still, because of the grace of being sober, you still have so much life to live, and that's one thing to
Right.
be grateful for. So you can still figure out
Right.
what
So
you
now,
want to do.
yeah, now when things come up, I definitely have the choice to do them. And
That's
I mean,
okay.
I just got so
What you have?
I had such bad tunnel vision of just drugs and alcohol that like that's
Right.
all I really wanted to do for
A very
decades.
yeah.
And now that it's different, I don't know.
Right.
It's, I
You have a different
lot more
outlook on it.
options.
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly. That makes sense for sure. Well, I hope you still figure out what you want to do. Those things that you've never done. What are you grateful for, though, Jack? And I'll let you go. I'm not gonna hold you hostage.
I'm
Even though, like,
grateful.
already kind of
He's stuck.
I'm grateful for a lot of things. The main thing that I was terrified of when I was using is that my parents wouldn't get to see me sober. And rebuilding that relationship is definitely at the top of the list of one of the things that I've gotten from recovery.
Awesome.
But also having friends that don't want anything from me.
Just want you to be the best.
Yeah, just, you know.
That's awesome, Jack. I'm happy for you. Well, thank you for coming on the show. I know you're not that big of a talker, so I appreciate it for
Not
sure.
a problem.
All right. Who are you? I think I already know, but everybody else needs to know.
My name's Eric.
Hi, Eric. And we got somebody
Hi,
else
Eric.
coming on. Yeah, they have. And who do we have coming on right in front of me in the red sweatshirt?
My name's Dustin. I'm a drug addict.
Hi, Dustin. All right. Well, I'm going to ask you guys some questions. Maybe some of them might be recyclable. Morgan don't got to answer them, but we'll see. There's so many questions here.
We'll figure it out.
What lessons did you have to learn the hard way? Go ahead, Eric.
What was it again?
What lessons did you have to learn the hard way? Me, I had to go to jail to get sober. So. That was my lesson.
My lesson was probably going to prison.
Okay.
I ended up doing 2.5 years in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Did boot camp. It was a good life learning, but I probably would never do boot camp again.
Right.
But it's made me who I am today. So, you have to come with what you get.
Yeah.
Just take the challenges and go with it, because you're gonna have struggles and challenges every day in life. If you can't handle little things, you're gonna fall under pressure over these bigger things that come, financial, no job, whatever. You just keep an open mind. Just don't beat yourself up, because if you beat yourself up, you're your worst enemy.
Right. Like that one dude has said in group today, like, we are our biggest critics, and that is very true.
We are.
How about you, Dustin? What was the hardest lesson that you had to learn? Well, what lesson did you have to learn the hard way, basically? My bad. I reworded that so differently. I'm trying to remember stuff off the top of my head.
Every lesson in life I had to learn the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was how to get sober, how to learn money management,
Yeah.
focusing, sacrifice, sobriety.
Yeah.
I had to do it all the hard way, I
Mm-hmm.
tried everything until I figured out my way doesn't work.
Right. Okay. Well, that's a good answer. Do you feel like when you made like lessons, did you make it where you were the hard way? You were like your biggest problem of it?
100%.
Okay.
Everything in my life, I just made it more difficult because I thought that I could do whatever I want, whenever I want,
Love you, Miss Gracie.
and it didn't matter.
All right. Yeah. All right. That makes sense for sure. How about you, Morgan? What lesson did you have to learn the hard way?
Honesty. I was a
You're a liar.
liar. I was a liar when I came in here the first time. Like, you could ask me. She knows. She was there. You'd ask me, oh, like what'd you do last night? And I'm like, oh, dude, I went to Target, dog. I went and did this. I did nothing. I laid in bed last. Like, why? Where did
Right.
this come from? Why are you lying about that?
Do you think like lying, like, especially because sometimes people start to lie impulsively because of addiction? Do you think that you starting to have like almost like an impulsive lying because?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I think the hardest lesson that I had to learn was like going to jail to get sober, but also like having to find that balance of like cutting like my own family off because it's like that's my family. I don't want to, but it's like if you don't respect what I'm doing, I can't have you around me.
100%.
Especially because some people know that I have a very big family, and that can be a pain. It really can. Like, I love them all, and it's like what I always tell myself is like, I love you, you're my family, but I don't have to like you or like what you're doing. I was like, so. All right, well, what is it? Tell us about one of your character defects, and how are you working on it to correct it?
I don't have character defects, so I'll
That is
refer to
one.
you guys.
That is
That's a
one
lie.
character
Okay.
defect.
He's too humble.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right. What about
Being
you?
humble.
What about you, Eric? What is one?
Just beating myself up because I.
You gotta come closer to the mic, though.
All right. Just beating myself up because
Yeah.
I set myself high expectations on everything. Like I have to be done the right way the first time because I just hate going over things and have to redo it. So
Right. All right.
I just gotta let them be.
All right.
You made her mad.
Yeah, Dustin.
Yeah, look at.
It's not the first lady that's been mad at me.
Okay, well, what is a character? Did he make you mad? What is a character defect for you, Morgan? What is something that you are working on right now? What are you trying to correct?
Dependability, I guess.
Just
in a
being like
sense.
very like depending
no,
on others.
Like being a dependable person.
Okay.
Like I'm trying. So now, girl, I'm trying to be more dependable. Because I wasn't at all for a long time, and I want to be someone who, if you call, you can count that I'm gonna show up.
Yeah, and it's like the thing is like the first step of doing that is like you have to be like dependable for yourself before you can do it for others, because that's when you put yourself in a rabbit hole of like,
Oh yeah.
you know, for sure. I say like my character defect, as Dustin said, he's like, I don't got character defects. Sometimes I can't pinpoint what a character defect is, and I think that's one of them. Is like not thinking I have any or know where to start with them for sure. So Dustin, what is your character defect? What are you trying to correct?
I have a lot of them.
Somebody's tired.
Oh yeah.
I am tired, yes.
It's been a long day.
Yeah.
Just trying to take time.
Bye, Morgan. Wait, before we go, what's
Nope.
your gratitude? Sorry to cut you off, Dustin.
I'm grateful for this place. I'm grateful for my higher power and my sponsor and my recovery network and
And the baby.
and being able to leave when the baby is tired.
Thanks, Morgan, for coming on.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Jack, can you go grab somebody and see if anybody else wants to come on, please? They all went on, so. All right, Dustin, back to the character defects, though.
You can jump on until somebody else gets here.
Yeah.
Right there. There's a new person.
Mandy.
No, she was already on. It's your turn.
All right.
Yeah, Mandy's always here. We love Mandy, but yeah. All right, but what's those character defects that you're trying to correct? What is one that you're focusing on the most right now?
So I work a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm always preparing for something that's going to happen instead of just being okay being still. And that's what I'm trying to work on right now, is just taking time for myself. Like something happened at work today, and I got done at like 10 o'clock, and I was pissed, right? I was pissed.
Right,
But I was just like, dude, you have almost 50 hours in for the week,
right.
you know? And I said, you know what? This is an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So I drove down to Chaska, walked into my kid's school, said, hey, my daughter's got a dentist appointment. And then she walks into the office, and she's like, what are you doing here? I go, oh, you have a dentist appointment. She looks at me like, then you wouldn't be here if I did.
Mm-hmm.
And we walk out of the office. She's like, what are we doing? I said, whatever the hell you want to do, let's go. You know, and just being able to get like that time, like, you know what I mean? Like, she's 16, so it's like we don't get to hang out a lot. You know what I mean? She's
Right.
working, has her own life, and just those, I have to make time. You know what I mean? Like, I could have just went home and done nothing or whatever, but it was like, you know, we got to hang out for like 3 hours today and chill and talk shit and make fun of each other, and you know, that's what it's about right there.
Yeah, of course. That's awesome. I'm happy you got that time with your daughter, you know? What about you? What is one character defect that you're trying to work on and correct right now?
Well, I got a good one, a bit of a doozy, but for me, like when I've been in recovery before, the pattern that I have when that I always seem to come back to is, like I also struggle with sexual addiction too.
Okay.
And for me, I have a tendency to get involved with men, and
Yeah.
it kind of is something that always leads me back. It's I call it the trifecta. It's Men, sex, and drugs.
Amen.
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 Yeah. It's like almost like sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a little less punk rock there.
Yeah.
slightly regretful.
Yeah, but it's like, hey, at least you're
Just
aware
prison.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What comes around goes around.
I mean, yeah.
Sometimes more than once.
Well,
Oh, we got it. Well, and that's why we're here. We're here to like.
We're getting spicy.
yeah.
Just
Always.
a tad bit. But that's why we're here, to fix those things, to see those things, and be aware of it, and try to make those situations better for ourselves, for sure. I'm gonna ask you one last question, then we're gonna switch over to him.
Cool.
And then, so the thing is, like, what is one thing you've always wanted to do but never done, and why?
Wow. I guess like I've always wanted to travel outside the United States. I've been and I have a great desire to just go out and keep meeting people and knowing other people's stories, where they come from, what they're doing, what their
Nice.
life's like. So
What
just
country would you want to visit if you had that opportunity
I'd-
first?
Croatia.
Oh,
It
sick.
looks beautiful.
Sick. All right. Well, one last time, what are you grateful for? And then we're gonna switch.
Always like my recovery and higher power.
Nice to meet you. All right.
Wu-Tang.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Thanks, Dustin. All right. You. Yes, you. Bye, Morgan. Oh, we're not heading out. Oh, good. You just had to head off.
Oh, no.
Okay. I mean, hey, if there's nothing better to do, we're all happy to keep you here. By the way, if you guys aren't aware, we keep our doors open after our 8 o'clock meeting. We are doing like movies, Pictionary, and then we have our podcast. So you're always welcome to come and join us. There's pizza, and it's just a good time. Who are you, sir?
I'm Tad. I'm a drug addict.
Hi, Tad. All right. Well, what is something that you're grateful for that you've gotten back in recovery?
They're talking about the camera view
What camera view? Where?
behind you.
Yeah.
Is that better, people?
Right. I think.
He's talking about you. They're talking about you.
Who? Me?
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
said.
the-
left the
that-
camera view.
everybody
I
wants to
saw him,
talk
now
about
he's watching.
Dustin.
Ain't much to talk about.
I don't know. I think it's because because Timmy's not here, so he's always watching. But
Yeah.
what are you grateful for about your recovery? What is something that you're happy that you've gained back in your recovery?
Ooh, that's a good
Who's
one.
Dave?
I don't know.
Donald.
My relationships with my kids, and like there's a lot of things. Like I haven't driven for 12 years and I just got my license, so that's cool.
hell
You've been
yeah.
driving me crazy for 5 fucking years.
I've been waiting for someone to say that or use that,
Nice.
and no one has. Like
Bazinga.
I thought of it 3 days ago, and no one's used it but Dustin for the win.
And I found out you had your license 36 seconds ago, so.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's great. So like just opportunities, relationships. I think I've said this at a lot of meetings and in a lot of places. Like I have my family back,
Right.
and like I'm present for it. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say like I have 1,000 friends or guys that I'm close with, but I have real relationships, and the people I am close with, I'm close with, and I even have people that are like, I wouldn't say me and Dustin are like buddies or pals, but
I mean, we've banged a couple times, but.
yeah.
Whoa,
But
whoa.
like, I have a respect for Dustin, and I know if I was really in a pinch that I could call him, and he would talk me through it, and he'd be there. And I have a lot of people like that, and vice
Yeah.
versa. I didn't have that shit when I was using, unless I had a bag on me and someone wanted it.
Right.
So, I mean, just life. Having a job, that's something I had back because I couldn't hold a fucking job when I was in
Right.
active addiction. I'd quit my job within 30 days of me starting to use again, always. Because I didn't have time for anything other than getting messed up.
Right. Exactly. How long have you been sober? As we're talking about this, how many?
4.5 years. It'll be 5 years in April.
That's amazing. I forget what the applause button is, but I'm proud of you. I would give you the applause. We'll give you your own.
Well,
Anyways,
thanks.
yeah.
I mean, one day is a miracle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, and I know that sounds cliche, but like, it is one day at a time. And
No, exactly. I always say that in groups. I'm like, I can't take back what I did yesterday. I don't know what's tomorrow, but I just take it today.
Hell yeah.
It's the best.
Can
thing
I
to do.
say, by the way, Paris, you're doing a really good job,
Oh,
too.
thank
You're
you.
so much better than Timmy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tim
Yeah.
came in here and he was like, maybe go see if she needs
Your
help.
voice is better.
And I was like,
I'm sitting here listening. I'm like, yeah, let's just replace Tim.
Yeah, I got it. You know.
All
You're
in
good.
favor?
Yeah, you're good.
All right.
Heck yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. You know, I really love doing this stuff. I love giving back to, you know, a community and a support group that's been there for me too. So it's like what I learn, I try to give back out, you know, and try to give people like that comfort, motivation to just come and like try it. You know, what is the only thing that's gonna happen that you're not gonna like how you feel for the first like 10 days, but once you stick around, it starts feeling good. You know what I'm saying?
Who was feeling good when they were using all the time? So
Exactly.
What?
Hi, auntie.
Well, you thought you did.
is that your dad,
That's my auntie.
Brian?
Brian's
I'm-
my father.
Hi, Father Brian.
Shout out.
I think we're supposed to go to Oregon.
I think
know. What are your guys' gratitudes in recovery, though? Like, what is something that you're so grateful for that you got back? It can be many things. Like, me personally, it was my own connection within myself.
So
that's amazing.
I spent my whole life shit in the bed.
Yeah.
I screwed up everything, right?
Right.
And I tried a million times and I failed. And so this last go around, I thought I was such a piece of junk that the only thing I deserved was a sober place to live. And I said, if I can just get a sober place to lay my head, anything above that
Right.
is a blessing, no matter what. And if I set my bar super low, because I would come in and I'd be like, well, I don't have this job, I don't have this house, I don't have this, I don't have that. And then I'd find all the reasons to stay instead of the reasons to leave. And so my promise that I made to myself was that as long as I had a sober place to live, as long as at the time, if I could just find a sober place to rest my head,
Right.
everything else was gravy.
Biscuits and gravy or just gravy?
Just gravy. I didn't have biscuits yet, but you know, the one thing that I'll say is that I tried getting sober I tried doing it every way, right? But I realized if you try to get sober for a person, place, or thing, that person can die, that place can burn down, and that thing can get stolen. So you have to find something other than that to get sober for.
Great wordplay, honestly. I love it.
Preach.
You know what you're saying, Dustin. All right, how about you, Eric?
What I'm grateful for?
Yeah, what are you
Besides
grateful
me.
for?
Nothing.
Really?
No. I'm just grateful for having what I have for today. A month ago, I was sitting in prison having
Yeah.
nothing. Today, you know, I got my license back on Monday. I bought a
Everybody's
new
just getting their
car.
license back. That's fucking sick.
I bought a new car on Tuesday.
Hell yeah.
I know, it's pretty sweet.
Was it the truck that we were
No,
talking
it's an
about?
Infiniti QX60.
Still good.
Damn,
Dope.
what, you got dope money from before?
He saved all his money from prison.
I was putting work in. Just kidding.
Happens. $20 is $20.
Right. An infinity's an infinity, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know, just having everybody around here, like they said, everybody repeats this over and over. These doors are open all the time. Everybody is warm here. They don't make you feel uncomfortable. If you feel uncomfortable, then you just need to look at yourself because.
Or say something, because
Yeah.
there is some creepy people.
Well, that's anywhere you
Dustin's one
go.
of them. No, I'm kidding.
We just got to set your boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's like something that I had to do for sure when I first started getting sober, and I repeat this every time. I played, group roulette. I had to find where I where I fit in.
Yep.
And like I always said, it was most of the time it was men trying to hit on me that are like my father's age. And I'm like,
Check yourself.
I'm like, I don't want that.
I have that problem too.
Really? Wow. I mean, we must just be a good-looking group, Okay. Well, what was some of the scariest tasks that you had to do as soon as you got sober? Like, what was so scary for you, but like you were thankful that you got through it?
Just accepting myself.
Okay.
Just because like I said, I'm my worst critic. I'll talk myself into anything and everything anytime, and oops, that had to hurt.
Was that the head?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I just gotta
Jesus.
accept myself for who I am, and just let things fly. Some people like me, some people won't. Just part of life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, how about you, Dustin? What were some of the scariest things that you first did in your recovery, but you're so thankful for that you got through them?
Being a dad. You know what I mean? I didn't know what it meant to be a dad.
Right.
Right? Like, I thought I just had to buy you some stuff and, whatever. But the real thing that I learned was consistency. Like, I talk to my daughter every day.
Yeah.
You know, I'm on a schedule with my son that I never had with my daughter, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? And life comes up, right? And things happen, and you know, you got to be flexible, but you know, you got to try to stay to I try to stay to some kind of consistency in both of my kids' lives.
Right. That's amazing. I like that. What are some of the scariest things that you like went through in first in your recovery, but you're so grateful to like work through them?
Man, you guys both had great answers, and I can relate with those. So outside of the things that you guys said, I would say that like so mental health was big, and I put in a lot of work in my first year, and I talk about that anytime I'm on this podcast or anywhere. If people listen, so like I'm grateful that I did that shit because it was not fun and it was not easy, and I think like the biggest thing that was really hard for me was getting over my fucking self and realizing that
Right.
I'm not always right, or like I don't know. And like a lot of that wasn't that I really thought I was right or I was really super cocky. It was a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, so like dealing with that, and through the process of dealing with that, I got to what you were talking about, which was loving myself and being able to figure out what I was okay with, which
Right.
goes right into what we were kind of talking about a second
Right.
ago. Boundaries. Once I
Yeah.
loved myself, I could realize that I always had these morals and values. I just wasn't living up to them. I could have boundaries with myself, boundaries with other people, and not everyone was okay with that.
Yeah, especially when you first start getting sober, people are like, "But dude, like you didn't have any before." And it's like, well, because I'm starting to learn self-love.
It
you
was,
know?
well, like, so I hung out at an Alano club, right, a lot, and I did everything there. And then somewhere like a year later, like, I'm not doing all that stuff.
Right.
I'm not dedicating 35 hours unpaid here. I got to do some stuff for myself. I don't want to do that. I'll do this because I want to do it and it's helping me. And I thought when I learned boundaries, everyone in my life was going to be like, yay, you're getting healthy. That's not what
It's
happened.
not, yeah, 'cause
No.
it's like,
And-
But you see a lot of people come into recovery and then they make recovery their new identity, right?
I
And
did
it's
that.
almost like an ego as like you and the reason why I see it today is because I did it years ago, and I just had
Me
to
too,
check
bro.
myself, and it was like because to a 5-year-old kid, it doesn't matter if you're on drugs or you're spending all of your time at AA. They don't give a shit. You're not there. So
Right.
it doesn't matter if you got a needle hanging out of your arm or you're
if
saving
you're-
people's lives. They
You
just
gotta
know their
be-
dad's not there.
right.
And so I had to figure out why I was coming in. Like, why am I getting sober? Is it an ego thing? Is it, why am I doing stuff at meetings? Why am I giving people a ride? Is it because I want to feed my ego and let people know how freaking cool I am? And it doesn't
Right.
work.
Yeah.
Because all I did with drugs and alcohol was it was a way to distract me from life, right? And then once I got sober, I didn't have the distractions of drugs and alcohol. And so then we fill it with work, meetings, this, that, these other things. And you're still the same person, but
Right.
you haven't done any work on yourself because you've been so busy. Hey, they didn't do this, they didn't do this, and then you're walking around an Alano club like you own the place,
Right.
Or you're walking around a
True
AA
that.
meeting like you're better than somebody else,
Right.
and it's like the only reason why this room is open is because of people that came before us, and the only reason why it's going to stay open is if we
Because-
constantly be the hand to the newcomer coming in,
Right.
and if you're chasing people out because you're a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
why.
there's a lot of meetings in the Twin Cities that, like, when I first got clean, like, I literally looked at guys with 10, 15, 20 years sober, and I was like, if this is what 20 years of recovery looks like, I'm good. I don't want it. You know what I mean? Like,
I
your
remember
fucking
thinking
life
that,
sucks.
too.
You have no money. You have no friends. You get no chicks. What are you doing?
Yeah, and it's like I think sometimes
Power control.
Yeah,
Oh my
'cause it's
gosh.
like I think sometimes it's especially like not all people that are old timers like.
No,
But
not all.
it's like it's happened because like this is just a conversation me and my father had one time. Was he got like I can't remember what exactly months, but it was like he got like a good couple of months, and
What? When? No.
but it's like my dad, like he was just getting out of like treatment. He was going into groups and stuff, and like this old timer. Like my dad, like he is an addict of like heroin. So like, they give him Suboxone and stuff. And when he got up there to go get his coin, they're like, well, you're not like completely sober. And that was an old timer that said that to him. And it was like, he's like, I'm sober in the way that I'm sober. He was
I'd have told
like-
that dude to suck my dick from the back.
That's what my dad made.
Yes.
That's what my dad did.
I legitimately didn't think anyone else in the world said that.
Well, and it's like,
I lived that life.
and it was just like, it was insane to me because it's like there are those people that like have made like their recovery their personality, and it's like, and I even tell anybody when like they don't see me for like a long period of time, I'm like, I'm taking time to myself. I was like, recovery is my life. I was like, but I'm not making it into a chore. I was like, that's not what I'm here for. I was like, I still need to be myself. I was like, recovery is a big part of my life. I was like, but I have a lot more outside of this than just recovery. Like, I'm thankful for what I have, and I was like, but that's why I don't try to overwhelm myself with it, because it's like, I don't want it to be a chore. I just want it to be something I'm comfortable with and know that I always have, like, a place to go back to.
And the funny thing about that is, like, it's weird because recovery isn't my life, but it is. Like,
Yeah.
Like, it's weird because, like, if you go to
It's a part of your life.
Right. Like, you could go to any one of my bosses right now and they'd be like, yeah, they all know I'm in recovery. And
Right.
they all, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
all of my jobs, it's just like every person in my life is in recovery in one form or another. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't do it on purpose. It's not like I won't be friends with anybody that's not, but it's just the men that show up in my life just so happen to be men in recovery. And that's where I choose to put my time. And it's like, I'm really, really an advocate of finding men that have things that they don't want. If you're the smartest man in your group, find a new group. If you're the richest man in your group, find a new group. If you got the biggest nuts in the group, find a bigger group. Because you ain't going to get better if you constantly surround
Right.
yourself with people that aren't making you better.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like what I
Praise
feel
Allah.
like it can, especially with the ego thing, going back to that, is like I feel like people that have an ego in recovery, that's what scares newcomers into like not coming back. And it's like, what do you want? Do you want people to actually get better, or just like have that ego of like, you're not doing it my way? When it's like, recovery isn't your way, it's everybody else's way and the way that they work. And sometimes it may not work and they got to learn a different way. Because it's like, I know if like somebody told me, like, say if I still like had like, things that I had to take that's like had to help me, but it wasn't sober, I would be like, dude, it's like I have like mental health. I was like, I have to take this stuff, and it's just like, or even if it's like, it sucks when you have a relapse for sure, and it's like, but it's like you still can't disregard somebody. You still gotta give them that chance. So it was like, because they're giving themselves that chance again, and it's like, it's
Relapse is part of recovery.
yeah,
and I mean,
exactly.
like, something that was said to me, because like I was a repeat offender. Like I don't know, I went to like 30
just a
plus
learning thing.
treatments.
Right.
Yeah, and like I would get down on myself, and like finally someone said something to me. You must really want recovery, bro, because you keep coming back. Like,
Yeah.
figure it out, and like
Yeah.
So like it's a part of recovery. It's a part of the change cycle, the relapse. I mean, it doesn't have to be for every person like me. I know a Timmy who got sober his first time. But like, you know what, dude? Fucking up.
Yeah, but
and
he was 67 years old when he did it, so I don't think he's got
oh
much
man,
time left.
man, I thought he
I
was
mean,
73,
yeah.
but okay,
And
it's
like,
good
to
to
and
know.
that's the thing, is like everybody's is different, and it's like for me, it's like, because it's just, everybody has their own way of doing it. Like, this is my first time in recovery, and I just put my nose to the grindstone, because it's like, I just want to, it's not, I don't know what the right way is. I'm just going with it.
The right way.
There is
for
no
you-
right way.
The right way for you is your way.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it's not, then you learn from that, and that's how we grow. We don't grow from just you
Being
don't-
here.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
just.
Yeah.
If you were a person, I'll just say baseball, and walked up and batted 1,000, hit a home run every time, you're never gonna grow. You're never gonna change because everything's perfect.
yeah.
Well, and it's like I tell you all the time. You walk into this room, and I mean, fuck, what would your life look like if you would have got sober at 19? What about you? You know, how many
I don't
fuck-
know.
You know what I mean? Like, you know the heartache and the fucking the prison and
I'd be a different person. I probably care less for people, for sure.
Amen. That's where I'm at. And like, what is the one thing that you always say, Dustin, when people come into these rooms and you want them to apply themselves? What do you tell people?
Oh fuck, I
It's-
don't know.
Suck it from the back. Is that what he says?
That's my grinder account.
Okay. Dustin always says, like, if you are really about your recovery, get connected get your nose out of your phone. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, my big thing is like the thing that I don't, and the reason why I say this stuff is because I did this stuff, right? Like, I'm not trying to pick on anybody. It's the things that I see.
Yeah.
The bottom line is I never went into a bar. I never went into a trap house, sat on Facebook, didn't talk to anybody, didn't do anything, and then walk outside and throw a rock at the place and be like, fuck that place. I didn't get high. I didn't get drunk. That place sucks, blah, 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 blah. No, you got in there. You figured it out. You got involved. You drove fucking halfway across the city. You went and stole money from your mom and your uncle and your neighbor.
You walked
and
2 miles in a blizzard. All that.
Showed
type
some
of
guy
shit.
your wiener for $17 down at the casino. Whatever you did, I don't know your life, but you were willing to do whatever it takes. But then you walk into this room.
Or you
Jesus,
sit outside and smoke. You ain't gonna learn nothing.
and I'm an asshole at heart. I literally sat in this. I walked by somebody during the meeting, and they had a fucking tablet, and they're playing video games. I wanted to punt that fucking thing across the room. Listen here, you fucking turd. You want to be on the wall? There's a bunch of motherfuckers that wish they could, and you're sitting here playing World of Warcraft or whatever fucking bullshit you're doing. You could have stayed at home and got the free Wi-Fi there, player.
Yeah.
But I just walked away and.
Right.
Because that's their recovery, right?
Yeah, and it's like, and honestly, it's like you talk about from your experience, but you're also just kind of giving somebody that opinion of like a different option, basically. It's like there's a different option for it, and it's like, and you can take it. And
and that's what I tell people all the time. Like, if you want to get high, I'll give you the $20 to go fucking do it. I don't give a fuck.
You're gonna get what you put into this.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
If you want to get high,
you will do whatever you got.
Go ahead. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, like, it took me 1,000 times before I got it. But I just hope that you make it back in here because
you never know what's going to happen.
People
that
aren't
next
making
time.
it back in here a lot now.
These kids aren't getting drugs anymore. They're getting
Poison.
Poison. At least when I was a kid, you bought a bag of dope. It was fucking dope.
Good.
Well, it's like even just like in the town that I live in, like it was probably like a year ago. This little 15-year-old girl that I knew that was like friends with my brother passed away because somebody sold her like fentanyl.
Yeah, dude.
Everything's cut with fentanyl. It's just garbage.
and
It's
like-
crazy and like
and
because
it's-
I
yeah.
knew 3 people that died because of drugs, and 1 was a suicide, and 2 were overdoses. And I hung out with a lot of druggies. At least I think I did. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe I didn't, but like,
Yeah.
so like, it's insane.
Well, and it's like, because the
Nowadays.
thing was, it's like, that's also like, even though like I was still like, because like this happened before I like really got deep in my addiction, but like it really hit me to like go, because it's like I knew her obviously of like my like family and like my friends as well, and I was like the adult there, and I was watching these these children, like these literal children mourning their friend because of poison.
Yeah.
And it's like that's where you have to actually think about what you're putting in your body, and it's like, and that's what I said in the group tonight. I was like, you know, I was like, this is the thing. I was like, you have to think about all the work that you've put yourself through and where you are now. Like, think about that before you go and decide to buy a bottle or a bag. I was like, you literally just, like, you put all this work into yourself, and just because you have a feeling that you don't like, you want to throw that all away.
Those feelings will get you every time.
And I know that. And
so,
it's
like,
you know.
My sponsor says something, and like, so I ended up making a rule after relapsing because of those feelings every time, you know, that I don't make serious decisions based on my emotions.
Yeah.
1, the same day, and 2, without talking to 3 people that I trust to be honest with me.
Yeah.
Even if I don't want to hear it, I got to talk to 3 people that I know are going to be like, Tad, dude, that's fucking, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Or they're going to be like, and they can't be yes men. They can't be people that are going to be like, yeah, you're right. Fuck that son of a bitch. Go punch him in the face and get a bottle. You know, I can't have people that are going to do that. I got to have people like, dude, you know what? Like, I see why you're angry. That's justifiable, but really, the ends don't justify the means, bro.
Right. And
And-
it's
Hey, I think me and Brian need to talk. This guy's onto some shit.
my dad.
Yeah, dude. That's
Just
my.
find him on Facebook.
That's my guy, dude.
Yeah, just find him on Facebook. My
They're-
dad. I wish that you know, I'm happy that my dad is where he is and he has a great job and stuff. But I do wish that he was here so he can spend more time and get to know.
Well,
everybody
it's like I used to tell my daughter. I can be a better dad from 2,000 miles away, sober and making moves than, you know, sitting in the same room with her while I was getting high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the blessing that we live in 2024, basically. I mean, we could hop on a plane tonight. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You can hop on. You could be anywhere in this country in a few hours.
Right. Yeah. Well, and it's just like, and like what you were saying, Ted, about our, is it Tad or Ted?
Tad, like tadpole.
Okay, cool. So as Tad was saying, it's like, what you learn is, well, there goes the Red Bull.
Yep.
Anyway,
Seen that going.
It's like you were saying, it's like having yes men around you. That's what got you to where you were in your addiction.
Those are your best friends.
Because it's like, that's what I had around me.
I don't need people to co-sign my bullshit. I do that shit enough. So, like, the other,
They'll be right there for you, though.
yeah, the other thing, I need people that challenge me, whether it's uncomfortable or not. Like, my best friend's name is Matt, and he's one of my best friends, and he's considered an asshole by most people, and I love him because he will never ever lie to me, whether I want to hear it or not.
The truth hurts.
And another good buddy of mine, Kyle, he will call me on my shit. He'll be like, dude, remember, me and Kyle like to throw each other's helpful words in the other one's face. He'll be like, maybe you should make a gratitude list, Ted, because that's what I would always tell him. And I'm like, oh, thanks, Kyle.
You're like, really now?
And like, the other thing about emotions is, so I just wanted to say this real quick, was my sponsor always says emotions are like check engine lights. When they're coming off, you can go back and inventory them and get to the root of the emotion, what's really bothering you. Because most of the time, let's say Dustin calls me a dickhead, and I'm really upset and like I have a tantrum. It's not because Dustin called me a dickhead.
Right.
It's because, my dad used to call me a dickhead and he beat me and I feel a certain way. So, it's cool. Let's get that other guy that's walking out of the room
we're
on.
trying to have people leave. You got to give each other
Alabama, come here and get on.
You got to give your gratitudes before you dip.
right.
Dustin, what are you grateful for? Attitude for gratitude.
Women with low standards. I got 2 kids because of it.
Damn, Dustin.
All right, how about you, Eric? What's your attitude for gratitude?
I'm just grateful for being here today. Because, I could have woke up today.
And not be here.
Well, not even that. Just took the wrong path.
Yeah.
Because every day I struggle. Everybody struggles. It's just a matter of me making the right choices. And reaching out for help.
Yeah.
I hate asking for help. I hate calling people for help. I don't like people telling me I need to put myself in check because I hate it. I don't like people telling me at my defects.
Yeah.
But you know what? It helps me as a person. It helps me grow, and makes me a better person for who I am. And,
Right.
And then when I'm a better person, I can give back to other people and help them out.
That's an awesome gratitude. Thanks, Eric.
Yep.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for speaking again. And sometimes we just rope people in, but thanks
Hey,
for
whatever's clever.
doing it. Dale,
Dale's gonna. I want Dale to take my. Yeah, and then Dale will take my spot.
are you done?
Dale's gonna take
All
my
right.
spot.
Well, Ted, thank you for coming on. It's always nice to talk to you. What are your gratitudes?
I'm grateful. So that's your dad, Brian.
Brian,
I'm
that's
grateful that, and he works at a juvenile place. Okay, I'm grateful that he's playing this for the kids. Hey, man, if they're still listening or there's any way they can hear this, I was in and out of juvie my whole life. Like, look, man, don't ever give up, no matter what you go through. If you don't get it right now, I just want to let you know that, like, I didn't get it till I was 35. If I can have a job, have a car, be sober, and do all the things I've done, you can do anything. Just don't give up. Keep trying, find some positive people. That's all I got. Here you
Thanks,
go, Dan.
Ted. Aw. All right. Don't forget your Red Bull, Ted.
He goosed me. He goosed me.
God. All right. Who are you, lovely people?
I'm Alex Foster.
Hi, Alex. Who are you? I know who you are, but everybody else needs to know.
Jennifer, alcoholic addict.
Hi, Jennifer.
Jennifer.
And I think we all know who you are.
Oh no, everybody don't know who I am.
Who are you then?
I'm Dale.
Hi, Dale.
I'm definitely an addict.
All right. Well, I have some questions. I was like, what motivates you guys? Let's start with some positive stuff. Like, what motivates you? What keeps you going in your recovery?
Oh, let's start out with something easy and simple here. That's actually is an easy and simple one. What motivates me is helping new people come in the building, getting them to meetings. Alex is a good example for me. I've known him for quite a while, and he's finally getting it right. And he called me this time, and I didn't have that disappointed look in my face. And I said, you know what? We're going to go to Otsego to pick you up every weekend, and we're going to bring you to a meeting down here in the cities.
Didn't you guys just go to a meeting? You just got back?
We never made it there. We ended up doing a bunch of other things for sober people. We've been running constantly,
awesome, though.
dropping people off at their houses, whatever it takes to make sure someone can make a meeting. We had a guy in South Minneapolis had to get dropped off. Then we had to go pick another person up and drop them off. So I mean,
Right. Okay. Well,
do whatever it takes to help people stay sober because that's
Giving
what
back.
keeps me sober.
giving back.
You got to give back. You got to give back what gave it to you. So
Love you, Dad. I hope your group enjoyed. And have a great night. Drive home safe.
Hey, Red, miss you. Can't wait to see you again.
Yeah, he's at work right now. He's
Oh.
playing it for the juvenile.
Hey, that
kids.
is awesome to hear. You know, that I wish I would have had something like this when I was in there.
Yeah. So,
So.
all right. But how about you, Jennifer? What motivates you? What is like something you're finding that motivates you? Because this last time we talked, I know you were kind of like, still working through some stuff. Are you feeling better?
Still struggling. Holiday season's hard.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for everybody. I'm still in my first year of sobriety.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 5 years, but January 1st will still be my first 1 year.
That's awesome.
Good for you.
I have a problem.
That's a big thing.
I
Yeah.
have a problem with relapsing though every time I hit an anniversary, so I'm trying to make better choices this time around. But currently, like you said, it's helping other people. I come here. I got 2 people that I got to bring home
Yep.
after leaving here.
I think we know who those people
But I just had my one-on-one with my boss, and I sell insurance, and I asked him, is it okay to bring our agency into the AA community?
Yeah.
Because people need help. You
Right.
got your SR22s, you got no prior insurance, all this stuff that you need to get back on your feet.
Right.
And it's hard,
Yeah.
you can't just get insurance anywhere when you have all these stipulations and things that
Right.
need to happen, and it's hard to be open and honest with people you don't know about what you've done, and then you don't tell them everything,
Yeah.
but they find it out anyway because that's their job as an agent.
Right,
So
right.
they dig that information up and things like that. So moving forward, I think that's going to be my goal and my way to
Wonderful.
assist my friends in recovery, is that just having that person that you can go to help.
Well, I'll be one of those people for
Right,
you,
right,
You
right.
can talk to me, we can joke around, it's all fun.
Right,
Is it
yep.
roach fall?
Oh, you definitely got to have fun in recovery. If you don't have fun in recovery, it's not going to work. I mean, that's the best part about recovery.
Well, and we just need those
Yeah.
resources,
Yeah.
and I think that was like a huge eye opener for me when I was just talking to my boss, and I was like, I go to these meetings with 100 people.
Yeah, and it can
And
be.
People need insurance,
Yeah, for
and it's
sure.
hard to get.
We need
It's
to
not-
talk.
You just can't just go get it like a normie. Like
We
you
need to
don't-
talk after this.
right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, Alex, what is your motivations? Like, what is motivating you in this time right now?
To be honest, I'm still trying to figure that out.
That's
I'm early in
okay.
recovery, and I'm trying to figure out. But watching Dale, that has motivated me a lot.
Nice.
Seeing how far he came from 2 years ago.
I bet.
You know,
Well, especially if you're early in recovery, that's okay. At least you're still working it, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
What is like something that's bringing you guys peace at all? Like, what's something that's like, bringing you peace of mind? What helps you? Like, for me, it's like my groups, but for sure, I love my groups. Don't get me wrong, but my peace is when I get to go home,
Oh,
sit on my couch, hang out with my dogs, and play some games.
I'm not going to lie. My peace comes from, wow, my kids.
Yeah.
Being able to talk to my daughters again, being able to make decisions that affect me and my family. And, the holidays are coming up, and that's a big decision on what will affect what's going on in my life.
Right.
Do I dare go back to where I used to be, or do I have them come towards me?
Right.
And the nice part is I'm at peace of mind because I got to talk to my family and actually talk to them about what's going on and how I feel. And, I still have to talk to the rest of my family about it. So if you're listening, Mom, so we'll talk later. But no, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, peace of mind is just being sober is just peaceful. It's quiet.
Nice.
It's relaxing. It's
That's
normal.
Wonderful. I'm happy for you, Dale. That makes me very happy.
It's you, Paris. You keep me at peace.
Yes. Anyways.
Yeah, there. You make Paris happy. You want to see her smile? Just say it's Paris did it. She made me do this.
Yeah. No, I know. It's like, it's not really. It's, people do the same thing for me. So that's why I'm just like, it makes me happy that I can do the same for others. What is bringing you peace, Jennifer?
That's hard right now. Like when we spoke last week or the week before, or whenever it was.
Yep.
I don't really have a lot of inner peace right now. So I'm really struggling with that, trying to find. I used to use alcohol more as like a reward system.
Yeah.
Yep. So if I adulted well, I
You're
got
like,
to, I got to
cool.
drink, you know. So
Yeah.
I'd get home from work, I'd make the kids dinner, I'd do a load of laundry, and then I got to go drinking. That was my reward for adulting all day.
Yeah.
Now my kids are grown, they're out of the house. I
And now
don't
you're
drink
like,
anymore. So
yeah.
I'm like,
Okay. Yeah.
what meeting are we going to tonight?
Would you say like coming on the podcast and stuff help you bring peace, because then you get to like talk about your experience and stuff, and like, you know, actually get it out there for somebody that probably needs to hear it.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy for me, right? So I like to say I'm an outgoing, bubbly person, you know, but then I drank and I got all that social anxiety. If I wasn't drunk, I couldn't talk to people. I didn't know how to interact with people. So I still struggle. So I feel like I'd like have to put on this fake persona and then keep it up, and then as soon as I get home, I crash.
Yeah.
Out of that. So it's hard because this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
I'm a loud person. I like to talk. I like to meet people.
Yeah, you
but
just gotta
it's
find those
draining.
people. Yeah, well, of course. I even like me. It's like I get drained by it too. And like you see me, I gotta yell at people on Fridays.
Right?
So it's
Yeah.
like
No, you yell?
Uh-huh.
I've never seen that. Have you?
Just every Friday.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean-
every Friday. You know, if you guys want to get yelled at by me, come see me on Fridays.
Oh,
But it's
that-
like it's a loving yell. It's not like
Is that you sure that's loving? Because
Well, she reminds us she's not our mother every Friday. So
yeah, that's what makes me feel like more it's a yelling feature than I remember I'm not your mother. It's like you make me feel like it right now. Or the look, you get that stare. You're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? What did I do wrong this time?
Yeah, no, it's like I try to have like that loving aura about me and like trying to show that.
Yeah, that's what we're calling it nowadays. There you go.
is.
See that look? I just got the look. Oh my God, what did I do?
How about you? What's your peace of mind? Are you finding peace of mind?
Yeah, I'm finding peace of mind. I mean, when I was on drugs and shit, I thought about suicide a lot. So I
A little
my
closer.
bad. Yeah,
A little closer.
All right, when I was on drugs and stuff, I thought about suicide a lot. So being off it, I've been finding a lot of inner peace. So yeah.
Perfect. What?
What?
You know, when we were coming back here, he's like, I'm not going on the podcast. I
Well,
did that
I'm
last
proud
week.
of you.
I'm like,
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
remember what we told you?
You know, you gotta get uncomfortable in your recovery, so then you find comfort in it.
Yeah, I'm definitely uncomfortable right now.
But
You only look like it. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you're holding your composure.
yeah,
Proud
you're
of you,
doing great.
You know?
You haven't turned white yet. You know, you haven't
Yeah.
passed out. You're doing great. You'll be fine.
So I think I'm doing better this time than last time. So
Every time you get on here, it gets a little bit easier.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to keep coming back.
yeah.
So, no. So, Paris,
Yes.
what brings you inner peace?
I already told you.
Again.
Going home after this. I
No,
love
no,
going-
you can come up with something a little better. Come on. You're like a broken record on that one. Every time we ask you, going home and relaxing. There's got to be something else out there.
Finding time that I like by myself and going and eating. And I know you've seen my Facebook
Oh, I
post
know.
about it.
Yeah, you always have good food.
I
Always.
know.
I am a little disappointed though last week, and you did not invite me because that biscuits and whatever bacon and everything that was still on your plate. I'm like, oh, that looks good.
What is it? I just had hot pot yesterday, and that was so good.
She
One of
just
these-
had this mozzarella stick that was the size of a
Yeah.
corn dog.
It was so good.
I'm like,
yeah.
what's
What?
inside of it? She's like, cheese. I'm like, just cheese. She's like, yep, I love it. I'm like,
Yeah,
Good.
it was good.
All I know is, you know, she's brought me fried bread. She's brought me so many good things to eat. I love it.
Yeah. It's
I
just-
mean-
if I'm feeling very loving, I bring food for sure.
She used to bring me a little coffee thing. Plastic lid. Them things are so good.
Tai Chi.
Yeah, Tai Chi. Oh my God. She was trying to get me off Red Bull. It worked for a little while.
Yeah.
It worked for a little while. And
Well, I
then
gotta start bringing. Well, you're barely here, so I don't ever know when to bring.
I am
you one.
here.
Well, Fridays, yeah. Now you are.
Wednesdays and Fridays.
Not
I
always
wasn't here
Wednesday.
last Wednesday. Oh my
Yeah, I
gosh.
was like, not always.
I know.
Wednesday.
Sometimes I'm not here. And you ever go to a meeting and then just not go one day?
You were
and
like, where are
see
you?
how many people have texted you, asked you, are you okay?
Yeah, I
Did you
know.
relapse?
I just
No.
texted
You know,
someone today, an
and-
old timer in my Thursday
Yeah.
night group. I was like, "Where have you been?" He's like, "I'm still sober. I'll see you next week."
Yeah, I
You know?
mean, and
He's
it,
remodeling his
you know,
house.
but
Yeah.
the nice part is to see them people that reach out.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm getting to the point is, here you have people that reach out. If you miss a meeting or you're not here, I have people that'll text me, call me, and wonder what the heck is going on in my mind, why I'm not there. And half the time it's, I'm
Nice
still
work.
at work right now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really busy, and they're like, well, that's no excuse. I'm like, I'm at work right now. At least I'm answering the phone.
Yeah. See,
You know,
what's funny though is Dale was trying to say that he was tired of coming here, and then I started coming here, and I was like, no, you can't leave. So then that's why.
do we
he's
really
still
have to
here.
get into this stuff? You know, they say a comment that, you know, sometimes you get burnt out, you get wore out, and you get stressed out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do need to take a step and just look at what you're doing and make it, you know, and broaden your horizon. And that's what I ended up doing. I ended up going and checking out different places because there's nothing wrong with going to different meetings, checking them out, and
Yeah.
seeing what you can find out there. Because I found a really great one that I really like on Sunday, and
Yeah.
it works for me. It's totally different style of meeting, and which is fun for me to be able to go to different places and meet new people. I mean,
Of course.
and that's what it's all about in recovery. It's not where you go; it's
Where
what
you're gonna do with it.
is what you get out
Yeah.
of it. So.
All right. Well, let's start. Well, because we're getting to the end of it. And
Oh my God.
I know. I mean,
It's
at
that
least you
time
guys,
already.
Yeah. I mean, at least you guys didn't have to like. Alex didn't have to stay here for that long, so it's like I'm not gonna.
He's doing really good. He's
Yeah, he
kind of
is.
quiet. I've never seen him this quiet in my life.
Remember,
Shit, I was this quiet in the car. What are you talking
Yeah, I
about?
know. You
Okay.
should. He was like a little mouse in the car, just sitting there. I'm like, and I kept on poking. I'm like, come on, waking
Oh.
up. At least you're not sitting in treatment right now
Are
doing
you
nothing.
two in the same house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sick.
Oh, so he's got to go all the way back up there too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bring him back tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
What lesson did you have to learn the hard way? What
don't
is-
put your finger in the light socket. Took me like 6
I'm
tries to figure
talking-
that one
No,
out.
I'm talking about in recovery.
Oh. I'm like, I'm still working on the light socket thing. I've done it more than once in the past week.
Right.
I would say for me, it's just managing emotions.
Yeah.
Like trying to feel feelings and figure out how
Right.
to properly display them. Well, where they'll be received.
Right.
Creating boundaries for myself, and it's hard when you've been masking for so long
Right.
and covering that up. It's hard to figure out how that's all supposed to work.
Right. No, that makes sense. It's like your hardest lesson that you've been learning. Okay. Yeah, it can be, especially because it's like, it doesn't matter how early you're in recovery or how far you're in. It's like every lesson is different for everybody. So I completely understand that. How about for you, Alex? What is like the lesson you had to learn the hard way? And please come close to the mic so we can hear you.
Get really, really close.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Like
you're gonna have
this.
to come back to me.
Come up all the way up to your chin. It's okay.
Well, it's like even then.
Put
like,
your
what do
chin
you-
on it.
What was your hard lesson that you had to learn?
My hardest lesson I had to learn is forgiveness for myself.
True.
I mean, honestly, for everything I've done to people I've done it to, and the people I can't find to be able to ask them for forgiveness, is learning
Right.
to forgive myself for the things that I've done in my past, and to realize I am not that person anymore. And you know, it's amazing, like being able to do something different with your life and no longer be that person. It's like the biggest 3 things you have to change in your life is the way you act, the way you talk, and the way you walk.
Right.
You know, you don't have to carry yourself a certain way anymore. You don't have to act like that person anymore. And you don't have to talk like an idiot anymore.
Right.
You can just be you. You can be comfortable in your own body, in your own skin,
But
doing
what
whatever you
if
want.
Some people are just like, you know what? I'm gonna keep my nice. I'm gonna keep that to myself.
Oh no! You can't start a
Too
quote.
late.
You can't start a quote and stop. It's like, you know, if you never mind.
I'm just saying, like, what if people just like, they're not? No, that's not nice. We're here about gratitude and attitude, so we're gonna keep that for off the topic. Anyways.
Oh, that's for later.
Yeah.
When
So
we shut
anyways,
down.
What is the hardest lesson you had to learn? Even if it wasn't in recovery, like, what got you? That was a hard lesson for you to get in recovery. Then.
Oh man, I can think of a ton of them for you.
You know
Yeah.
what? This is his question.
I
Not
know.
Help me
yours.
out, Dale.
I can't. It's what you learned, not what I think you learned.
I don't know. I can't think of one.
You got it, man.
Just one. You can even
Anything.
be like having like a hard lesson is having something to actually say about things.
Yeah, right now it's a hard lesson. Learn to be
Yeah.
out of your
'Cause you
comfort
gotta get
zone.
out of
That's
your-
true.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
was like, that's, you know, I was like, because I get it, because especially like when I first got into recovery, I did not want anything to like anybody to know anything about me. I just kept it to
She
myself.
was really quiet like a mouse.
That's how I'm feeling.
I mean, but that's a hard lesson to learn, that you don't have to be like that anymore. You can.
You find your peeps.
Yeah.
You find your peeps for sure. And then because after a while now everybody sees me as this like I don't even know what they
little
see me
tiny
as.
person that.
Maybe a firework.
Yeah.
You're like a burst of energy.
She
Yeah.
definitely is. I mean, she comes out like, oh, it's gonna be okay. No, you're gonna do this. It's like, okay.
All right. Well, you know, we're a little over time, which is always okay. I don't mind that. But so you guys don't feel like you're being held hostage. What are you grateful for?
I am grateful for actually going to pick up Alec and be able to bring him down here for the meetings.
Nice. What are you grateful for?
Just another day to be sober.
Oh,
There
yeah.
we go.
What are you grateful for?
Grateful to be here. Thank you.
Yeah,
All
of course.
right.
Thanks, guys, for joining the podcast. Just a reminder, you know, if you have any questions or you need somebody to reach out, there is a number that usually is scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Your voice is valid. It's important. And, you know, come and check us out here. We have a meeting Monday through Friday. There's many meetings everywhere else. If you need to ask anybody, all these people in these rooms will give you different places that you need to go. I suggest, you know, we'll work for sure because this is my second home. But your voice is valid. It's important. We love you.
And have a
I
great
love all
night.
you.
I just
Woo
saw
woo.
Jalissa's post, and I'll get back to you after the new year and let you know how that went.
Of course.
nice.
You know, he was playing this for the juveniles at his work.
Yeah.
He was playing it for the juveniles.
Brian, you're the man. You let me know when I can come out to Oregon. I'll be on the next flight.
You definitely can whenever. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next Friday, 8 o'clock sharp. You know, we do
Whoop,
this.
whoop.
We do this for 2 hours. There's pizza, all types of fun stuff going on here. But yeah, your voice is valid. It's important. We love you guys, and we will see you next week.
Have a
good
great
night.
night.